Okay.
Hey, we're back.
Yeah,
I don't know what happened there.
these connections, you can never tell. Now,
Gremlin.
optics. So I got the best one in town. However,
Mhm.
a connection that's the best does not mean it's perfect.
Yeah, that's okay. I apologize there. I'm not sure what happened. We figured it out though. We're professionals.
We are. We are.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's see where we leave off here. Oh, here we go. Here we go. This one right here. Um, how do you engage with the audience during your performance?
That's an important part of the show is engaging with the audience. You know, we collectively really strive to really engage the audience as much as we can. I mean, me personally, at one point in the show, I'm always in the crowd. Like I literally jump off the stage and I'm in there and I'm running up and down the aisles and getting everybody singing along and that's that whole kind of trip. I think the audience they want to sing. They all you got to do sometimes is hold that microphone out and that crowd can be so loud sometimes. We've done some shows where it's just like the crowd is just hyped and it's not hard to really engage the audience when you've got such a lively environment. You know what I mean? When you're like this a rock concert, it's a rock show, and the people that are there, like I say, Bob's fans are just some of the best rock and roll fans in the world, and they're there to party, they're there to get down and sing along, and this music matters to them. This music, these are their memories, and we've had people jump up on stage and they're dancing on stage, and although we do, it's we do suggest people not do that. But it happens. If people,
No, you're really not supposed to do that.
yeah, it's kind of frowned upon. Like um, this is the line. This is where you guys are, and this is where we are. And together we'll meet and we'll have a great time. But engaging the audience is not hard. But like I say, I really have a lot of fun with it. I have fun with the crowd. I love the crowd. I love the fact that people are there, and they're as passionate about the music as we are performing it.
Oh, absolutely.
Mhm.
But safety issue too. It's keeping the performer safe because you
For sure. Yeah. It's the world, I guess, just the world we live in. It's like, um, people, there's boundaries kind of get blurred a little bit. People, have such a connection to the music. We've had some situations before where we've had people kind of just jump on stage and maybe get into people's personal space a little bit more than they probably should. Obviously when people are drinking, when the alcohol is involved, a little liquid courage, it tends to give people that false sense of, hey, this is a great idea. This is this. You know what people are going to want right now? They're going to want me to jump on stage while this guy's singing, and get in his face and jump up with the backup singers and put my arms around the backup singers, and it's just like, no, man,
yeah,
don't do
it's
that.
like
For your safety as well as ours, for sure. Like nobody wants to get hurt. Nobody wants to trip. Some of the stairs coming up onto the stage is a pretty are steep and it's dark, and we don't want anyone to get hurt.
oh no. Yep.
No.
No. Now 50 seconds ago, and I know this for a fact because a gentleman who took what was her name? Little Miss Brenda Lee's picture. It was after a concert. Now today, if a concert's over, okay, guys, we had a great concert. We had a great time. Now it's time to go home. Back then, they didn't do that. Back in those days, they did not do that. And
Mhm.
walking by her dressing room, and he just knocked, and her mother opened, and he said, "Well, I like to say, let your daughter know that she did a fantastic performance. Well, she's sitting right here on a rocking chair. Why don't you just come on in? Ah,
Mhm,
today,
mhm.
that would not be possible.
No, like one thing that we do that we love to do is we love to do the meet and greets after the show.
That's what
You know, we're all very approachable, after the show, in that environment. Um, we love to meet everyone. We love to meet as many people as we can and listen to their stories about their connection to the music. And you know, we meet a lot of people that have seen us, so this is our fourth time seeing you guys this summer. We have some great fans, and shout out to all of them. You guys are the best. And but exactly in that moment, um when it's the right environment, we love to talk to people. We love to meet all of Bob's fans and our fans, and share some time with them after the show. It's a blast to get their feedback and all that great stuff, but yeah, there's a time and a place,
there is.
Yeah.
Let's see. Our next question is, here we are. What's the most challenging song to perform live?
Mm. Whew. For me, it's always the last song.
Which is Cat. There you go.
Yeah, the Catman but even like doesn't matter what that song is, it's the last song because we all put so much onto the show, and I put 150% of myself into the show. So, by the time that last song comes, sometimes we've done it. We're doing a 2.5 hour show straight through, and by that song, I can be pretty cooked. Um, but it's like you got one more, you got 7 more minutes to go, man. And you got to pour everything you got into these 7 minutes for this crowd because this is what they want to hear. This is the big finish. You know what I mean? And when you finish, you got to finish strong. You can't finish on a whimper.
True. How do you maintain your vocal stemma during long concerts?
You know, pacing, pacing the show is important. I think how you start the show. A show should kind of start here, kind of, and give a little bit of a dip, to kind of, so it's not just the entire time, and luckily Bob's got a lot of those great kind of mid-tempo, acoustic songs, Fire Lake and Against the Wind and on all those songs. It's really pacing the show so that when you come out of the gates really strong, and then you get a chance to give maybe settle in, and then you pick it up and you end really strong at the last half of the show is all the big kind of rock and roll bangers, and just really kind of pacing it for my voice too, because that's obviously pretty important if I can't sing. So it's you know song selection is pretty key, and where you're putting that song in the show, you know so you have the time. So when it times comes to belt out a 7 minute version of Catman Do, that you haven't cooked your vocals, you know.
What's your favorite memory related to a specific Seeger concert or album?
I would say when I actually was able to see him in concert, I got to we all went to see his farewell tour, and he played in Toronto, which is where we are at located, and it was amazing. It was he probably played, I mean, easily a 2.5 hour show, easily 2.5 hours, if not more. And he didn't pull a note, he didn't pull a punch. He gave it the entire time he was up there, and he was running back and forth on the stage. And I mean, at the time he's 73, and that's a pretty amazing testament to the man, that he to be able to kind of do that. And when I say he didn't pull any notes, it's just like he sang it like it was supposed to be sang. I mean, they might have dropped the key down, a whole tone for him because, like I said, you record these songs when you're in your 20s or your early 20s, whatever, and your voice isn't the same when you're in your 70s. You know, you just can't hit those registers. But man, he was a house on fire.
Wow.
Really sad. That's probably my favorite memory. It's really my only memory of seeing him live. There's not a lot of recordings of video of Bob, so it's that's the records wise, Live Bullet record is I think is one of the greatest live albums ever.
Wow. What
Yeah.
commercial? Of course, you probably know this. I mean, being Bob Seger tribute artists, I don't say the other things they say like Bob's you're a Bob Seger impersonator. No, I don't use that word either. No, I actually
Mhm.
don't like to be personally honest with you. I like to say tribute artist. That's what I like to say. So you are Bob Seger tribute artist.
For sure.
So as a Bob Seger tribute artist, I guess the next question I would like to ask is gee, must have been a lie. I just forgot it. It'll come to me though. Don't worry. Don't worry. If not, I'll just type it to you later. That's it.
Sure.
Um,
I mean, the tribute artist, um, you know, community, if you want to call it, um, all the shows, the bands that are out there doing this, doing what we all do. And there's a lot of us. I mean, the stigma, I find the stigma that used to be, oh, like you're like it's the word impersonator from
I,
back in the day, where it's like, oh, you're a Bob Seger or it's almost like you were kind of considered like it's like Elvis impersonators. You know what I mean? Where it was like kind of like frowned upon, kind of like mocked a little bit. You know what I mean? It's not so anymore, because there's so many great musicians and so many great bands that are out there doing it, and they're doing it just as good
yeah,
as the original bands ever did it. It's I mean, I love doing this because we get to meet a lot of the other guys that are out on the road. We just did Edmonton. We were playing out there for July 1st, and we did a show with some of the Eagles, Epic Eagles guys, and a great bunch of guys. We know them, and I mean, you close your eyes, I think it was the Eagles,
wait.
and it's a great little community,
Well, Bob Seger, I'm sure you know, was great friends with the late Glenn Fry.
Yeah, he was. They grew up together, in Detroit, and I tell those stories. When we're on stage, I tell a lot of stories for certain songs. Um, if you listen to Fire Lake, that's Glenn Fry, and that's Glenn Fry, and it's Glenn Fry, Timothy B. Schmidt, and Don Henley singing backups on that song. And if you listen to even Ramblin' Gamblin' Man, that's Glenn Fry singing the backups and Ramblin' Gamblin'. And yeah, their lives were very much intertwined. They were lifelong friends.
Glenn Fry was basically, I guess they're jamming in the basement or whatnot. And Glenn Fry's mother found out, oh, he's smoking pot with Bob Seger, and that just basically crashed their
Yeah,
work together.
yeah, yeah. Stay away from that Seeger boy.
Yeah.
Pothead.
Too funny, too funny. But yeah, no, no, I got the question now. I was gonna ask you, not ask you, actually, comment you on is on the website Forever Seeger when you perform. Yeah, oh my God, wow, Kevin. I mean,
Thank you.
fantastic.
Thank you. I mean, I really appreciate that. I love what I do, man. I really love. This has been a dream of mine my entire life. When I was a little kid, there's only thing I wanted to do when I was a kid was just get on stage and sing in a rock and roll band, and play great music, and I write, and I'm a guitar player first and foremost. But yeah, I love it, and the band is The band is amazing. You know, I think anyone comes to see the show will tell you like we really put a lot of love into what we do, and we're busy. Like this year has been a crazy busy year. Last year was nuts, and this year's kind of the same thing. So it's and where are you based out of?
Cape Breton, Nova Scotia.
Yeah, so we will be in Halifax next year. So we'll be out Nova Scotia way in next year. We got a bunch of East Coast dates coming up. We just played Newfoundland a couple months ago, and we had a blast, had a great time. And so we're going to be coming back for about 4 or 5 shows there next year.
Wow.
And Nova Scotia is on our list of places we will be. So if you want to, I'd love to see you in person, my friend. And come on out if you can make it.
You never know. Uh, how do you choose that list for your show?
You know, that would be, me and John will sit down, um, usually before the show. We don't make a ton of changes. You know, the show is the show. You know, we kind of said, okay, here's what we're gonna do this year. Here's this year's show. You know, it's like there's certain songs you have to play, and um, there's certain songs you want to play, right? And there's certain songs um, the crowd wants to hear, and everyone's got a very personal connection to certain tunes, and we've only got so much time on stage. So you really got to kind of handpick the songs you're going to do according to how much time you have on stage. Sometimes we've got a 60-minute show. So in that 60 minutes, it's just like you can only do the hits, and then it's like, okay, we got a 90-minute show. So what do you take out? You know what I mean? So, and I mean, it's a great problem to have because it's just such a catalog of music to kind of choose from. When we do our full 2.5 hour plus long show, we try and throw the kitchen sink at it and just do them all. But even still, there's still songs there's just no time, or we're taking that song out this year because we've done it for 3 years in a row, and it's like you want to make room for some of the other songs that people really want to hear. Like there's, oh, you guys didn't play You'll Accompany Me. And it's just like, oh well, we've only got so much time. So it's okay, we're gonna You'll Accompany Me in this run. So what do you take out? Right? You gotta take out Fire Lake, but everyone loves Fire Lake. And it's just so it's really kind of sitting down with me and John and kind of going through the show, depending how long we have on stage, to say, okay, here's what we're gonna do. What are we gonna open with? Are we gonna open with this song or this song? Generally, the show is kind of it's there already. It's just kind of the little markers that we kind of decide on, just kind of pre-show um, what we're gonna do, what we take out, what we add in. But it's tricky though. It's hard, but it's a nice problem to have.
Oh, absolutely. And some of the singers that have passed on, bass had passed on, but their music lives on, like
Mhm.
the Beatles. Oh my goodness. But then again, there's AIs that keep them alive. And some,
Yeah, not crazy.
oh, they're scary.
Yeah, it's weird. Like it's a weird world we live in these days. When you hear these songs, and it's like this not a real person. This is an AI generated voice, and it's just like it sounds exactly like the person that you think it is, but it's not him.
Oh,
It's yeah, it's a strange kind of landscape that we're all kind of living in these days, musically speaking. But you
there's
know,
places you can go to and record your voice,
mhm.
and it'll sound exactly like John Lennon. It's
Isn't
that.
that nuts? Isn't that crazy? Yeah, it's weird. I don't think AI will ever be able to write a song like, you know, We've Got Tonight, or Night Moves, or that's the human experience that writes those beautiful songs, right? So I think we're safe from AI kind of taking over. I know it's a bit of a big debate as far as that whole thing goes. AI is going to take over the music business, and
And plus, copyright too. Although you can record for your own personal use, but if you start putting on platforms, you are seeing boundaries right there. And
yeah.
unless you're willing to pay the piper, you can be in big time.
Yeah, yeah, it's weird. YouTube's a bit of a wild west. It's like people get their stuff taken down constantly. I know.
More than just taken down, you get warned big
You
time.
have Warren fined, you can get demonetized. I mean, there's people out there that their entire lives revolve around their YouTube platforms, and that's what they make their income. They monetize it, and they've done great. And then all it takes is to put up one song that, you know, Don Henley doesn't like, and then you're done.
Whatnot, yeah. Yeah, Irving is his manager. So I mean,
Mhm. Yeah. People are protective of their art,
oh,
and that's the thing, right? It's like, and I understand it. I get it. I mean, as a songwriter myself, it's a weird world. Like I say, music is free now. It used to be something that you would record and write, and then you could sell, and you can make a living off of it. It's hard these days. It's hard being a musician in the 21st century.
yeah, it's all making money. Uh, Now, our next question is, what's the best compliment you received from the Bob Seger forever? Oh, excuse me, Bob Seger from Bob Seger fan after a performance.
The best compliment that I can get from anybody who comes to the show is just that, like, they say, listen, man, I closed my eyes and I swear to God, I was at a Bob Seger concert. They're like, just thank you for bringing me back to that time where, it's like I've had, grown men and, biker guys and Marines and come up to me after the show and they were in tears, because of whatever connection a certain song. Turn the Page is always that big song for a lot of people. You know what I mean? It's always, I hear that a lot, was like that was our song. That was my dad's song. My dad passed away, and thank you for kind of doing it and doing it justice, because you really, you helped us through whatever time. It's a powerful thing, man. Music is a powerful thing. And as far as compliments, the best compliment I can get is just like, you know the gratitude of them for what we do. You know what I mean? But yeah, people say to me, I've seen Seeger 25 times, and they're like, you are, you know, it's hard to tell the difference, and that's huge. Because that's what you want. You want to take people, you want to take them back. You want to take them on a bit of a bit of a time machine, if you can, right? Take them on a bit of a journey, and that's if you can do that, you're doing something right.
You know, I can see why now, and I never knew this, and I can see why now Bob Seger did want to sing on the Beverly Hills Cop soundtrack because where was Axel Foley from? Detroit.
Detroit. That's right. Yeah, it was Detroit. It's funny. I just saw the new Beverly Hills Cop movie that's on Netflix, and they put Shakedown back in it. So Shakedown is actually in the new movie as well. I was like, oh, great. Couple more shekels for Bob. Buy himself a new sports car. Good for him.
And on that subject, Kevin, have you ever performed in Detroit?
Yes. Yeah. Well, we did. We performed. We've done a couple of shows at the Indiana Showroom, which is in, I mean, I don't know if it's in Warren, but it's basically just kind of a suburb of Detroit. We've yet to play downtown Detroit, like downtown Detroit proper. But we've been there, man, and it's funny being a Canadian band, and it's like you're going into Detroit, you're going into the